Welcome to Mindful Moments. Nourish your mind on the go. This video uses AI narration to present our original book analysis.
Oh, cool.
Today we're diving deep into an introduction to philosophy, Perennial Principles of the Classical Realist Tradition.
All right. By Daniel J. Sullivan.
That's right. You've chosen a really fascinating area to explore. This book aims to make philosophy accessible. Starting with relatable human problems.
Yeah.
Before getting into the more abstract concepts.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart approach. It grounds the philosophy in everyday experiences, and Sullivan avoids jargon, which is a huge help for anyone new to philosophy.
Absolutely. So where should we start with this deep dive? What jumped out at you as we were going through the material?
Well, the book does a great job of tracing the historical roots of philosophy.
Okay.
It takes us back to ancient Greece, where philosophers like Thales and Heraclitus were trying to find a single principle to explain the universe.
Wow. It's amazing to think about those early philosophers looking at the world around them and trying to make sense of it all. They were asking questions like, what is everything made of? And how does it all work?
Exactly. And their answers, though they might seem simple now, were revolutionary at the time. They set the stage for centuries of philosophical inquiry.
And the book really highlights how these early thinkers moved beyond mythical explanations and started seeking answers through observation and reason.
Right. And then we come to Parmenides, who completely flipped the script.
Oh.
Instead of embracing change like Heraclitus, he argued that change is an illusion and true reality is unchanging.
That's such a mind-bending concept. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about the world.
And to illustrate his point, Parmenides used these thought experiments that are still debated today, Zeno's paradoxes.
Okay.
Like the one about Achilles and the tortoise, where logically Achilles can never overtake the tortoise, even though we know that's not how races work in reality.
So even in these early stages of philosophy, we see these fundamental questions about reality, change, and the limitations of our own perception.
Absolutely. And these themes continue to echo throughout the history of philosophy. For example, when we get to Socrates, we see a shift towards focusing on human experience and morality.
You're right. Socrates wasn't as interested in the physical world as he was in understanding concepts like justice, truth, and virtue.
Yeah.
His method of questioning everything was radical at the time.
It's fascinating how his legacy continues to impact us today. The Socratic method is still used in classrooms and discussions to challenge assumptions and stimulate critical thinking.
The book really emphasizes how Socrates' ideas laid the foundation for his student Plato and his theory of forms.
Plato's allegory of the cave is a powerful image that still resonates today.
Okay.
It suggests that our perception of reality is limited, like prisoners in a cave only seeing shadows of the true forms that exist outside.
It makes you wonder how much of what we perceive as real is actually just a shadow of something deeper.
And then we have Aristotle, who was Plato's student, but who took a different approach. He was much more grounded in the physical world, observing nature and categorizing things.
His concept of form and matter is really interesting, where he says that forms don't exist in a separate realm like Plato argued, but rather they are embodied within individual objects.
It's like the form of treeness exists within each individual tree, giving it its specific characteristics. Aristotle was also really interested in the process of change.
Right.
And he developed the idea of act and potency to explain how things move from a state of potential to actuality.
So while Plato was looking up in the sky for answers, Aristotle was looking around at the world around him.
Exactly. And their contrasting viewpoints illustrate a key aspect of philosophy. There are often multiple ways to approach the same questions.
The book also delves into the nature of knowing itself. How do we come to understand the world around us? What is the relationship between our senses and our intellect?
One key concept the book highlights is intentional existence. It's this idea that the same form can exist in both the physical world and in our minds. So when we see a tree, the form of treeness exists in the actual tree and also as a concept in our minds.
It seems like this connects to the age-old debate about whether our perceptions are accurate representations of reality or just subjective interpretations.
Right. And these are some of the core questions that philosophers continue to grapple with. It's a journey of discovery. And this book provides a really great roadmap to get us started.
Yeah.
It's like we're constantly trying to map the territory of reality, both the external world and the landscape of our own minds.
Yeah, it really is. It makes you think about those big questions,
And what's fascinating is that this journey of philosophical exploration is not just about gathering facts or information. It's about developing a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos.
That's right. The book touches on this idea when it delves into the essence of humanity, like what makes us unique, what sets us apart from other animals. It highlights our capacity for reason, free will, self-reflection. These are the qualities that allow us to question, to create, to make moral judgments.
Right. The book even delves into arguments for the soul's immortality, suggesting that this immaterial aspect of ourselves might transcend the limitations of our physical bodies.
Oh, wow. It's a thought-provoking concept that has captivated philosophers for centuries. And then there's the question of happiness. What does it mean to live a good life? What is the ultimate goal of human existence?
Yeah, that's a big one. The book frames happiness not as fleeting moments of pleasure, but as a state of fulfillment. A flourishing that comes from aligning our actions with our rational nature.
I see. And it emphasizes the importance of virtue as a pathway to happiness, suggesting that cultivating good habits and living in accordance with reason can lead to a more fulfilling life.
It's a reminder that our choices matter, that we have the power to shape our own destinies, to strive for excellence in all aspects of our lives.
I appreciate how the book doesn't shy away from the big questions, the ones that have challenged thinkers for generations. For example, what is the nature of the physical world around us? How do we understand the concepts of space-time and causality?
The book explores different perspectives on these fundamental questions, highlighting the ongoing debate between those who see the universe as ultimately material and those who believe in a more spiritual or metaphysical dimension.
Okay. And it dives into the problem of evil, grappling with the question of how suffering and injustice can exist in a world supposedly created by a benevolent God.
It's a challenging topic, but the book encourages us to engage with it thoughtfully, to consider different perspectives, and to seek deeper understanding.
What I find so compelling about philosophy is that it's not just about finding answers. It's also about learning to ask better questions, to challenge our assumptions, and to embrace the complexity of the world around us.
Exactly. And the book does a wonderful job of showcasing this by introducing us to different philosophical schools of thought, from the Stoics to the Epicureans to the skeptics.
Yeah. Each school offers a unique lens through which to view the world, highlighting different values, priorities, and ways of living.
It's like we're invited to try on these different lenses, to experiment with different ways of thinking, to see which perspectives resonate most deeply with our own experiences and aspirations.
The book also delves into the realm of social and political philosophy, exploring different perspectives on the origin of society, the nature of justice, and the relationship between the individual and the state.
Right. It touches on concepts like natural law, social contract theory, and the balance between individual rights and collective responsibilities.
These are timely and relevant topics that continue to shape our understanding of citizenship governance and the pursuit of a just and equitable society.
And what I appreciate is that the book presents these complex ideas in a clear and accessible way, making them relevant to our everyday lives. It's not just theoretical musings, it's about how we live, how we relate to others, and how we create a better world.
One of the most compelling sections of the book for me was the exploration of the transcendentals.
Yeah.
Unity, truth, goodness, and beauty.
Ah, yes. The book highlights how these concepts are not just abstract ideas, but qualities of being itself. They point to something beyond the material world, something that connects us to a deeper reality.
For example, beauty is not just about aesthetics or subjective preferences. It's about a kind of radiance that shines through the world, drawing us towards the good and the true.
Yeah, it's like a glimpse into the divine, a reminder that there's more to existence than what we can see and touch.
And these transcendentals connect to this idea of a perennial philosophy, which the book introduces in the final chapters. It suggests that there are fundamental truths about reality that endure across time and cultures.
It's like a wisdom tradition that speaks to the depths of the human experience, offering insights into the nature of reality, the meaning of life, and our place in the cosmos.
And while these truths may be timeless, the book emphasizes that philosophy is not a static body of knowledge. It's a living tradition that needs to be constantly reinterpreted and applied to the challenges of our present moment.
Exactly. It's an invitation to engage in a dialogue with the great thinkers of the past, to learn from their insights, and to contribute our own voices to the ongoing conversation.
This book has really inspired me to delve deeper into the world of philosophy. It sparked a curiosity in me to explore these big questions and to continue this journey of discovery.
I feel the same way. It's reminded me of the power of philosophy, to awaken our minds, to expand our perspectives, and to enrich our lives in profound ways.
Yeah, It really is. It's like philosophy gives us this incredible toolkit for navigating life's complexities.
Right.
It helps us to think more critically, to question our assumptions, and to make more informed decisions.
And it's not just about intellectual exercises, right? It's about cultivating wisdom.
Yeah.
Which is the ability to apply knowledge to real-life situations, to make choices that lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence.
One of the things that really struck me in the book was Sullivan's emphasis on the importance of integrating philosophy into our daily lives. It's not something that should be confined to classrooms or academic discussions.
Right. He encourages us to engage with philosophical ideas in our relationships, our work, our communities, and even in our leisure activities.
Exactly.
Yeah. For example, he talks about how the Stoic philosophy of focusing on what we can control can be incredibly helpful in dealing with stress and adversity, or how the Aristotelian concept of virtue ethics can guide us in making ethical decisions.
It's about finding ways to connect these ancient ideas to the challenges and opportunities of our modern world.
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes an introduction to philosophy such a valuable resource. It provides a bridge between the timeless wisdom of the philosophical tradition and the practical concerns of our everyday lives.
Sullivan does a masterful job of distilling these complex ideas into a clear and engaging narrative, making them accessible to anyone who's curious about the big questions.
And for those of you listening who are eager to delve deeper into these fascinating ideas, I highly recommend checking out the full text of An Introduction to Philosophy by Daniel J. Sullivan. We've included a link in the description where you can purchase the book and continue your philosophical journey.
And don't forget to subscribe to Mindful Moments for more engaging book analyses and thought-provoking discussions. We're constantly exploring new and insightful works to help you nourish your mind on the go.
We're so glad you joined us for this deep dive into the world of philosophy. Until next time, keep those minds curious and engaged.